What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to your girl's channel. My name is Julia, and if you're new here, do not forget to hit that subscribe button down below. And if you're not new here, welcome back to your girl's channel. So today's video is going to be the first episode of what I'm going to call Mind Currency University, also known as MCU. Mind Currency is a lot to unpack, okay? It's all about elevating and just being a better you for the betterment of society, okay? Just a lot of being better. That's what you gotta pull from everything we discuss in these episodes, this series. I'm just super excited because there's so much to talk about that people don't talk about. I'm just excited to talk about it. So let's hop right into it. Your mind is your greatest tool, but it's also your sharpest weapon. So I want you to answer the question and decide if you're using yours to its full potential. It's very simple. We have pieces and parts of our mind that we use or choose not to use, whether it's emotions, just all types of stuff. We gotta dig deep and really figure out how we can be better individuals. And there's a lot of ways to do it. I think a lot of people look at personal development as a one size fits all, or I gotta do this to be better. No, like there's so many things that you could do in so many different aspects of your life to just be a better person. Okay, that could be waking up early, going to the gym, understanding why you feel the way you feel when certain things happen. There's a lot of different ways that you can just be a better person, and not necessarily just the big stuff. The whole idea of mind currency is to genuinely make people feel like they could change at any point in their life. Like you could be 10 and be like, yeah, I want to be better. Or you could be 55 and be like, yeah, I want to be better. There's ways to do it for everybody. Like literally, it's very simple. So in this first episode, I'm gonna do a little bit of like explaining what mind currency is, but also kind of giving y'all the general guideline for what a MCU episode is gonna look like into the future. So it's gonna be like a combo, and if I keep looking down, the computer's here. Okay, this is serious business. We're friends here. This is serious business. We got business to handle, okay? So I have notes on the computer, but we just, you know what I'm saying? We gonna get this show on the road because nothing's perfect and you just gotta do what you gotta do. And I genuinely want this to be a community where we talk about stuff that people tend to shy away from in everyday life, especially with social media. It's never talking about what's going wrong in society. It's always, oh, this is what's going good. Okay, cool. But people are dealing with real life things that are not discussed on a day-to-day that need to be discussed, because otherwise we're acting out in ways that are not necessarily beneficial for ourselves and just for society in general. But enough of my rambling, and let's get right into this episode so we can actually dive into some mind currency. So again, like I said, mind currency, the point of it is just to share tools, habits, and insights on how to just be a better person. This is going to be financial literacy, being more creative, and just developing personal. I'm here to facilitate discussions and not necessarily ramble about my perspectives on life. So yes, I'm going to include that, but I want this to be like an interactive thing. This is not just a me thing, because we're all in life together. Whether we want to agree or not, we have similar experiences, and there's stuff that everybody can pull from anybody's situation. I'm a big advocate from learning from anybody, okay? I'm not just going to be like, yeah, no, you're not on my level, so I can't talk to you. I can't learn nothing from you. That's not how this works. That's not how this works. The best advice comes from people that look nothing like you, that do nothing that you do. Like, you really just have to be able to pull information, insight, habits, and just little stuff to be a better person. And honestly, culminating the information and advice that you get from other people is how you become a better person. Because yes, you have the values, the morals, the beliefs that you had growing up, but you got to be able to pull from other people outside of like your immediate circle or whoever raised you to just get different perspectives and just be a different person. Like, you can't just go off of what you've grown up with, because then you have like a sheltered mind and you're not very open-minded to other aspects of life. And I'm not saying go out here and change everything that you ever learned from your peoples. No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. Please don't do that. You have to be open to different perspectives, because when you're open to different perspectives, that's when your thought processes start to change and you just have a different outlook on life. I really don't know how else to put it. Being around people that are different than me, like I said, some of the times where I learned the most, especially about myself, because like, okay, I act like this in this situation when I could act like this in this situation, or I like how they did that, so I'm gonna implement that into my life, how I operate in similar situations. All this will make sense hopefully as we go along, because I'm just trying to summarize everything that I kind of think about and what I want this to turn into, because like I said, this is not just for me. This is for people to look back on 2 years later, 5 years later, and be like, all right, like it should help you no matter what stage of life you're in. There's something that we can learn from everybody at any time. If you don't get nothing from this video, one of the things I want you to hear me say is you can learn from everybody. Everybody can learn from somebody else. It don't matter where they're at in life, what they do, how they look. Just be open-minded. Your mind can be your greatest tool, or it could be your sharpest weapon, meaning that it could work with you or it could work against you, and you just got to be open to that. And this is in business, creativity, and just life in general. So just understanding how the mind works, how to cultivate it to be better and just be a better individual. That's what this is all about. So hopefully by the end of this episode, you'll understand what MCU is and just get a foundation for how I want you, not how I want you to, excuse me, how you can, because this is an option at the end of the day. I'm not here to force you to do anything. MCU's not here to force you to do anything. I just want you to take some information, kind of think about it, and decide if you want to implement it into your life. Because again, you don't have to. Not forcing you to. Promise, Pinky. If anything in this video that I say resonates with you, or just MCU overall, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that you can see more. Plenty more where this came from. I'm already started scripting out other episodes, so I'm just excited to see where this goes, and hopefully you'll join me on the journey. Because again, this is a community. I want us to talk, I want us to chat, I want us to just, you know what I'm saying, talk about things that people don't talk about. Because a lot of the stuff gets pushed aside, when in reality, it could help us all if we just talk about it. And I'm not saying figure out each other's traumas, no, I'm not saying all that. But I am saying we could pull stuff from certain situations and be like, alright, this is what we have to do, or this is what we shouldn't do. There's a way you gotta do it. I do want this to be a tool to help you be better, and vice versa. I'm here to learn from y'all too. I'm a student in the game, you're a student in the game. We just students together, you feel me? I just happen to be using the platform. So again, the key topic I want to stress in this video is going to be that your mind is your greatest asset. How you choose to use it or not use it dictates a lot of things and how things will go for you. So again, if your perspective on life is bad, probably going to end up with bad outcomes because you don't see life as an opportunity. Or if you see it in the opposite direction, your perspective may be good and your outcomes may be good as well because you see the good in everything, or in most things. Because I like to think of myself as a realistic person. I don't like to be overly optimistic, but I don't also like to be overly pessimistic, but I'm gonna give you the real. So I feel like when I talk to people, when they ask me for advice in situations, I often come with pros and cons. You simply have to structure your life just like that, because if you don't, then you start acting off of emotion and reacting instead of responding. And again, this is all stuff that we'll dive into, but personally, that's how I feel. Like, you have to use your mind consciously. Don't just operate subconsciously. Dang, it's in the book. Dang, I started it. I didn't finish it yet, but we're working on it too. I think it's mastery of self. Like, you just operate from a place of, it's like automation, basically, is what he was saying in the book. And you can't operate like that. So you have to just be aware of the decisions that you make and how you make them and what impact it'll have on yourself and other people later down the line. So just be mindful of that. Think about how you use your brain. Think about how you use your mind. Think about the choices that you make. Don't just make them because you make them. Like the example in the book, he was like, all right, if you brush your teeth with your right hand every day, you never think about using your left hand to brush your teeth until you have to. So that's if you break your wrist, something happens to one of your fingers. And it's a crazy example, but it just shows how we make decisions subconsciously and just really don't think about them. It just makes you see the big picture if you're able to apply it. And that's the thing. If you're able to dwindle down bigger situations and kind of simplify them, it's easier for you to make decisions. And that's something that I'm working on myself, being better at decision making, because sometimes I'm indecisive. And indecisiveness is not necessarily a good thing, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but the faster we act on something typically is the faster that we can learn from something. So just not being afraid to learn is another tip. Keep that in the back pocket. So I've kind of touched on this already, but you may be asking, okay, so what makes Mind Currency University different from any other YouTube series or YouTuber out here making content about personal development? It's not about surface level tricks and tips. No, like, really dig deep, because that's when you're going to start seeing the long-term benefits of personal development. When you dig deep, you're not just saying, all right, I'm gonna wake up at 6 a.m. every day. No, you should really think about what waking up at 6 a.m. is gonna help you do. And another thing that I always see is, like, just because somebody operates better at 6 a.m., that may work for them. If you're able to structure your day so you could wake up later and operate later into the night because that's when you work the best, do that. You just have to do what works for you. That's it. And that's the kind of stuff I want you to think about. Just because everybody else is waking up at 6 a.m., that may not work for you. And you just have to be true to yourself and understand, all right, I'm not a 6 a.m. early riser. Maybe I'm gonna just wait it out through the night, work through the night, and then go to sleep a little later, and then complete the process again. You just gotta understand your why. What works for you? Why should I do that? Again, this is all about building systems that work for you. Life is not a one size fits all, and that's what a lot of personal development and all types of people try to push on you. Your life is not going to be the same as somebody else's, and their life should not be the same as yours. If you happen to have two things coincide, that's cool too, but everything shouldn't be the same for everybody because we're all different. Think about it. So with your mind being your greatest asset, it's a tool. You have to think about it as a toolbox. In the toolbox, when a contractor, let's just say, starts out, they don't start out with every tool that they need. They're constantly building and adding to the resources that they have to complete bigger and better projects. That's what life is, at least for me. I learn from every experience, every lesson. You just have to. It's no, oh, I went through that, I didn't learn nothing, but it's cool, we gonna keep it pushing. No, sit back, take a minute, and think about what the situation either taught you, what you learned, or how you can apply it to a different situation. And again, once you really start to understand how situations intertwine, even if they're not similar, that's when you start seeing, oh, okay, so I got angry at this situation, so I know next time when X, Y, and Z happen, I'm not gonna get angry, or I'm gonna try my hardest not to get angry, because I already understand where my mind's gonna go. It's definitely preparation, just understanding how situations correlate, how you can apply them to bigger and better situations. Brain capital is what I like to call kind of like the tidbits of information that you can kind of just keep in your back pocket and kind of like think about as you go through whatever you're going through. When you're going through things, I want you to ask yourself, does life get easier, or do we begin to experience a different set of troubles for an upgraded life? Typically, when we go through things, we're not meant to stay in those things. We're supposed to come out better on the other side. And I feel like if you operate with that mindset, you're going to look at the situation a lot more positively with a better outlook for the future. That's just me though. I kind of want y'all to just adopt that too, because it's like so many times I think we fall into the trap of, if a bad situation happens to us, we like, yeah, it's over, that's done with. Sometimes it's just not meant to be right now. Again, that's another way to look at life. Just because something doesn't go right now doesn't mean that it's never gonna happen. Now, be realistic. One of my favorite words. Be realistic. Are the signs there for it to be something in the future? Possibly, but I'm not gonna force it. Don't force no situation. For real, on a serious note, like if something bad or negative is happening to you right now, like you're experiencing, you're going through it, not even just right now, like any point in your life, I want you to really think about, okay, did I have a positive outlook or did I have a negative outlook, and then what actually happened? You see what I'm saying? Because sometimes even just having a negative outlook and thinking bad things are gonna keep happening, you're causing yourself distress for what? For what? And sometimes I be talking to myself when I be saying certain things, because sometimes we do stress about situations that are gonna work out, like eventually. Like I be stressing over school, but it's like, girl, you finish this week, you know what I'm saying? You don't have time to do what you want to do. Just lock in right now. I don't be wanting to do it, but a positive outlook is I lock in for these 2 days, I got 3 more days off. You see what I'm saying? So just operate with a positive outlook even if what you're going through is bad, because you don't want to cause yourself unnecessary stress. And I feel like that's a lot of what happens when we have a negative outlook, when we really know that things could turn out better than what they are. So enough said. Now on the flip side, which I already kind of talked about, your mind is a tool. It's a toolbox that you build up as you go through life to keep adding and bettering yourself, for yourself and for others. However, it can also be a weapon. I talked about it, like I said, having that negative outlook. You're causing yourself additional stress, fear, worry, anxiety, whatever the case may be. You could be bringing that onto yourself by just having that negative outlook. If you were positive, and again, I'm not saying be overly optimistic. I'm not saying that. There's a difference. If the signs are pointing to things working out, go with it. Don't force yourself to think about having a negative experience or for bad things to continue to happen. If the signs are pointing that it could go better, you just gotta think that way. You just have to know that it's gonna happen that way. Don't hurt yourself when you don't have to. There's no reason to experience unnecessary pain and all that when you don't need to. Like I said, I like to relax, kind of go through what I'm going through, take a step back, analyze the situation, say, hey, okay, so this happened, what could happen next? Will it be positive? Will it be negative? And either way, you gotta deal with it, because that's life. So even if it's negative, you're like, okay, well, how can I make the best out of this negative situation and grow from that? You just gotta know that it's gonna get better, because it is. And we're gonna trade bad times for bad times, but those bad times, they're typically not on the same level. My troubles in high school are not the same as the ones that I had in college when I was getting my undergrad. You gotta trade them for different lifestyles. All right, I'm fighting for a diploma, I'm fighting for a degree. It's 2 different things. Now that's just one example. Let's like go to career route. You might start with somebody's assistant. You're gonna have troubles there, but you're also gonna have troubles if you're the president. If you learn from those troubles you experience as the assistant, I'm pretty sure your job as the president is gonna be a lot easier, because you're gonna have the strategies and the skills that you need to keep going and excel in that position. Take the time when you're in them down and out situations and think about, okay, well, when I make it here, because we all should have goals. When I make it here, I know how to deal with this situation. I'll be prepared. You just have the mindset of preparation already. You locked in. There's nothing more to do. I mean, it is. There's plenty more. We can always do that, but you already have that in your mind. I'm here. I'm having troubles, but I'm also gonna have troubles at the top. So it's really no different. Again, you're trading one set of troubles for another, but for an upgraded life. You gotta think of your life as an upward trajectory. Nobody thinks about not succeeding. Most people think, okay, I make it through this, I'm gonna get here. I make it through that, I'm gonna make it up there. You see what I'm saying? So just operate with that mindset and go through the motions. You have to. A lot of what I say is easier said than done. But again, it's digging deep and figuring out what can I extract from the situations that I'm in to apply to bigger situations or apply to a different situation. You just gotta think about it. And a lot of this requires thinking. Some of it can induce fear. It can make you anxious. It can make you doubt yourself, but you gotta do it. Nothing good comes out of a lack of preparation. So if you prepare for a situation, you're gonna be in decent shape when it comes time for you to actually perform. But if you don't prepare, we all know what happens. You're either gonna fail the exam, you're not gonna make it to the next level, and you're gonna feel stuck. So just prepare. Take these moments. Again, when you feel like you're on the lower side of things, okay, when I'm in this situation, I'm already knowing I can handle that. You can handle it. And you're mentally prepared to do so. So just lock in on them times when you're down and out. You're gonna be great when it's time time for you to really step on that stage and perform. What I want y'all to really take from this is every situation you experience, I want you to say, how can I grow from this? Because like I said, the only way is up if you allow it to be. If you don't choose growth, you're gonna grow, but it's not gonna be sustainable. You're gonna grow and it's gonna fall off because you're not learning through the process. Again, you're not preparing yourself to be in higher positions, or you're not preparing yourself to be at higher levels, because it's like, yeah, I'm just going through it, just living life. Like, no, you can't operate that way. You can if that's your choice, and I respect it, but I'm also telling you that sustainable growth comes from learning, and again, taking what you learn in smaller situations and applying them to bigger situations. You'll be better prepared. Me, I'm a firm believer in getting what you think about, achieving your goals. I don't like to limit myself when it comes to time. A lot of people probably find that problematic, but I don't believe in rushing things either. So just knowing that your time is gonna come is also what's gonna help you get over those hard times. Sometimes it don't feel like it. Sometimes it does not feel like it, but you just have to know. And again, how can I grow from this situation? What can I take from this situation and apply it to a bigger situation? And a lot of the things that I say come from my experience, my own personal experience, things that I've gone through. For me, it wasn't until I started experiencing different things in life that I began to understand these. I like to say that wisdom and maturity is not necessarily an age thing. It's how fast we learn from past mistakes or past experiences. Because there's no, age limit or requirement for going through certain things. A lot of people experience things younger than others. Some people experience things older than others. It's just all about how you apply that in your life. Now, y'all tell me if that makes sense. Oh, you're so mature. Oh, you're so wise. You just have to pay attention. That's literally all it is. Personally, I don't think it has anything to do with age. It depends on when you experience something in life, how you deal with it, how it turned out, and what you apply from that situation to other situations. I don't know how to emphasize that anymore. Just simply take the time to analyze what you're in. Think about how that's gonna help you move forward and be better. Again, in better and bigger and higher positions and levels in life. That's it. You just have to operate with that mindset, and then you'll be prepared. And when you go through different things in life, I'm sure y'all have all experienced things where it's like, okay, that kind of changed how I'm gonna do that moving forward. When you start applying that to dang near every situation in your life, you become very analytical. Like, okay, I gotta move like this so I can get the result that I want. Because you can definitely curate a result for yourself. I'm not saying that's gonna work out 100% of the time, but if you employ the same strategies, you could definitely build that life out. Because we all make choices, we all make decisions, and you can't tell me that you can't make what you want happen, especially when you're actively thinking about it in every choice that you make. So again, I speak from experience when I say certain things, so just employing these strategies on a day-to-day for myself has helped me enter situations differently, exit situations differently, and just go through them differently. Everything I say, you might not agree with, and everything you say, I might not agree with, and that's okay. We can agree to disagree. I just want everybody to be able to pull from other individuals, like I said, that either look like them, don't look like them, operate how they operate, don't operate how they operate. It really doesn't matter. Just understand that you can learn from everybody, and we should all be able to do that. You may not like what I say, but I'm sure if you apply it, you'll see some changes and differences. And whether you agree with everything I say or not, pull what you need. That's the moral of the story. Just pull what you need. Because I'm gonna pull what I need from you and what I can learn from you and how I can implement it into my life to be a better person. So I kind of touched on the topic of brain capital. And brain capital is just tidbits for maximizing your functionality, maximizing how you're gonna be a better person for you, for society, today and every day. So we're gonna start off our first episode very light, very easy, very doable, I can start it now. I want you to ask yourself every day. It don't even gotta be the morning. Like I said, do what works best for you. For me, it might be the morning. For you, it might be the afternoon. For the next person, it might be in the evening. Do what works for you. I will say, it's good to set this intention early in your day. So whenever your day starts, I want you to ask yourself these two questions. What's one thing I can learn today? And what's one way I can use my mind to make progress? Because again, I do believe in using your mind to achieve your desired result. Things are not always going to go your way, but you can influence the outcome. And if you're mindful of that, things will start to work in your favor. Not only just believing that, but understanding what goes into achieving your desired result prematurely. Before you even get in a situation, you're thinking about, how can I get there? How can I get the outcome that I want? And that all starts with your mind. It all starts with thinking about how you're going to react in a situation that may make you uncomfortable. But there's so many layers to it, you just have to break it down. And it starts with, what's one way I can use my mind to make progress today? If I want to achieve climbing the mountain, maybe I need to go walk around my neighborhood for a little bit, get my stamina up, Random examples, but I promise you, when you start breaking down those big goals, that's how you use what I'm telling y'all. How can I use my mind to make progress? Well, today, I need to be mindful of what I'm choosing to do with my time if I want to climb the mountain by the end of the next month. just gotta do it. You gotta use your mind. You gotta think. What they used to tell us when we were younger, you gotta put your thinking cap on. And think about this. These questions set the tone for your day whenever you start your day. Could be the afternoon, could be the morning, could be the evening, whatever works for you. But it sets the tone for intentional growth and how to focus your energy where it matters to recognize growth opportunities. You have to use your mind prematurely in order to see the results throughout the process. So I want y'all to try this, maybe for like a week, even a day, and be like, dang, I said I was going to use my mind this way this morning, and I'm actually doing it. And if it's a goal that you need to achieve by the end of the week and you start doing that in the beginning of the week, you might see how that progress pushed you to your desired goal by the end of that week. Just intentionally thinking for intentional growth. So we touched on a lot today for this to be the first episode of MCU. And I'm excited. I'm very excited because this is the stuff that I love to talk about. A lot of people don't know this about me. Maybe they do. I don't know. But your mind. I need y'all to keep in mind that your mind is your greatest asset. And you need to be mindful of whether you're using it as a tool or you're using it as a weapon. Just be mindful of that. Understanding those two things could change how you begin to operate in your day-to-day. Because you could see how if you use it as a weapon, you may not be getting what you want out of life. But if you're using it as a tool, you may be getting what you want out of life. Not 100% of the time, but for a large part. So hopefully you learned about Mind Currency University and just understand the basics of where this is headed. You know, if there are any topics, comments, suggestions, anything you may have, feel free to leave them, because we're here to cultivate that community that encourages each other to be better, not only for ourselves but for society. A lot of people, I don't think, understand that we're part of a larger group, and it's not just us out here. No matter how much we want to be alone, be in solitude, life is not all about just us. We are here on this earth with other people, and we have to do good by ourselves to do good by others in order to live a fruitful life. So just keep that in mind when you're making your day-to-day decisions, because it's not just about you. But I will say, do put yourself first. We'll talk about it because it's the right way to go about that. Selfishness. I mean, throwing in the teasers. But hopefully you learn some things that can make you more mindful or help you be more mindful to unlock your potential and achieve your desired results, at least for a large part, when it's in your control. So don't forget, if you want to see more of me, see more MCU, learn more about MCU, and just talk about all things about the mind, being better, doing better, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm gonna catch you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.